role of generative AI in securing physical and cyberspace. We have a very interesting speaker, JVS Ramakrishna, who is the Global BU Head, Sustainable Smart World L&T Technology Services. So JVS Ramakrishnan has over 27 years of global experience spanning technology, business strategy, and P&L leadership. As the Global Business Unit Head for Sustainable Smart World at L&T, he leads transformative projects in smart cities, utilities, defense, and Industry 4.0. His work integrates 5G, IoT, AI, and digital infrastructure, including leading the 4 billion Hyderabad Metro digital transformation. He has secured over 500 million US dollar in smart city contracts and previously led L&T Infotech African expansion. He serves as co-chair of FICCI Urban Transformation Committee and vice chair of IEEE-IAS Madras Chapter, while also supporting community initiatives like the Indo-African Skills Academy. I welcome Mr. JVS Ramakrishna to you.
I'm just in a transition of good morning to good afternoon. So very good morning, still a minute away. Thank you very much, Dominic, for the fantastic introduction. And it's a privilege to be here. I've been hearing, you know.
I can't see your face.
Okay, let me do this. Is it okay?
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. Leave it.
Yeah.
So it is my privilege to have a follow-up session after having such a fantastic and passionate sessions by our old friend Srini and a few other people over here. I've been working with L&T for last 26 years, mostly in the technology space. And for last 10 years, into the public infrastructure, focusing on safety, smart operations, and sustainability. Today, I'm told that this whole theme is all about AI and generative AI. So I thought I'll bring in a bit of going beyond the cameras, which I'm sure the experts have already spoke a lot about it. More talk a bit of technology as Gen I, more from the engineering perspective, and what has happened last few years, in terms of helping in the security industry. And as you all are aware, security is no more physical security. The word PSM, I think is dead long back, right? So it's all about how do you protect your assets, your people, both from physical and and from the cyber point of view. I know there are a lot of hype around this AI is happening. A lot of people, some of the questions are coming, asking for what can be automated, how can it be done. As technologists, we promise moon, but when actually it comes to delivery, we always fall short because of whatever it is, right? Sometimes we say cost, sometimes we say, the technology is not up to date, or we don't understand, or whatever, right? The reality is technology has improved a lot. Are we there yet? Somebody was interestingly asking a question. Is it replacing the human, process? I mean, please understand, there were many tasks. Probably Srini or Donnie can talk about it. In 2014, the typical image classification using any infrastructure that was available was not able to beat human performance. But today, probably it is exceeding by 15-20% in terms of the speed. I mean, so 10 years is long in the technology industry now. Things have changed drastically. So when I joined L&T, people used to say that we need to do business planning for 5 years, 7 years. Of late, in the last strategy session, we were told that, look, I mean, you need to plan for 5 years, but with a clause that your business will change every 6 months. So many companies, technologies will disrupt us. But if you see all these things, if you see at a broad level, as we all can appreciate, there are into three categories, any of these technology interventions that come in. One is about the efficiency improvements. The other one is about generating new business lines, or maybe some amount of experience improvement, some other ways. All the three is what actually is going to happen. Uh, we shouldn't see this technology changes purely from the commercial angle until they really scale. So there is a phase, if people like Durang didn't believe that video one day will scale, this would have not happened, right? I'm sure you would have burnt a lot of money in that, but today this is a reality. As we speak today, Hyderabad city is one of the city which is considered to be the lighthouse in the country from the public safety point of view, with almost 12,000 cameras and almost 100,000 cameras that can be integrated into the system. Like the other gentleman was asking, is it possible to monitor so many cameras? No. So how are they doing that? I mean, a huge amount of technology implementation has gone into that from the automation point of view. Is it the best implementation today? No, it's a long way to go. Should we wait for another 10 years? No, maybe 6 months. Things will change. I'll give you a classical example before I get into this whole discussion agenda what I have here. Around 5 years back, the then DGP of Telangana called me and said, look, all the cameras is fine. The biggest challenge we face is the people sitting in the police stations, when somebody comes with a complaint, could be cyber complaint or could be regular criminal complaint. What sections we have to file in will determine with the fate of the case when it goes to court of the law. I mean, you file wrong sections, the chances of getting it struck off is very high. So the conversions of the cases into convictions will depend everything on the document what they do, piece of right. Now, do you expect all these investigation officers or the people who are taking the complaints to be expert in all the laws of the then IPC code? No. Some are good, some needs a lot of help. The simple challenge given to me was like, can you create a Google type of interface wherein he types the scenario or the complaint, and can you suggest the closest cases that can be booked on? We were not ready. We created a Google search because like a technologist, right? Spec says Google search. I created a Google search, and we did page ranking, and we pulled in from 10 IPC sites and then put something there based on some keyword matching. It didn't serve the purpose. 4 years later, today with the advent of LLMs, that's the reality. I can bring in BNS, I can bring the whole court judgments that are available in the market, push everything into large language models, the context is available, it can answer with a chat GPT type of interface, anything. How did we solve problem that time? We had to bring in 4 or 5 investigation of experts sitting in central place. They take call from police station. They ask based on their experience, they tell. Today, if somebody wants me to rewrite the whole thing, with the advent of the compute that has come in, with the language models that have come in, I think it's a matter of probably 15 days, 20 days to really create it. The similar challenge we had was, for many cases on the cameras, like we were discussing about, can we find a scenario so that we can identify the case? I mean, Jurang team can tell that, where is the training data? What do I identify? Classical case I get from many people is, from the educational institutions is, can you identify somebody is going to commit a suicide? How do you identify? Do you have, like a technologist, right? Give me data. I'll train. Who is going to have data of committing suicide? Isn't it? So that was a big challenge we all had. So generating such synthetic data was a big challenge. And it will never be closer to the real-time life. Today, with the advent of Gen AI coming in, generation of near real world synthetic data is possible. Now, how will be the accuracies? Earlier, probably it was like tossing a coin. Today, it may be maybe 60–70%, but still, it's worth exploring, right? So, a few years back, when we say video analytics, it was all about analytics coming in. Probably that is the closest one in terms of getting real-time analytics, right? Rest of the IT analytics is all sitting in some legacy data in cold storage, try to do some correlation, throw some dashboards, and most of them are not real-time. Today, as we stand, as I stand in front of you, the ask is about real-time analytics. Real-time analytics is a very complex subject, and Srini, you have been using the word fusion and all. The platform which we have created in L&T is also called Fusion, you know. it's a multi-modal fusion platform, right? So why I'm saying these examples is, the technology is here. And some people also have expressed concern on the cost, like you mentioned about a 60-watt bulb, you know, cost. Yes, the cost is very high. Like any innovation, like any technology, I think there'll be a lot of engineering that is happening in terms of bringing down the cost. But the thought we need to all appreciate is the innovation is here, we need to adopt it. Well, cost will follow. The more adopters, the more frugalness will come into this and people will push for that. So that's a space as L&T we play on. How do I bring down the cost of such AI using the engineering across the stack, right from your camera to infra to the application is where the next set of industrialization will happen, if I were to call. So with that, gentlemen, I mean, let me start a bit of introduction of Gen AI. Everybody has got a perspective. I mean, few years ago, if somebody used to ask what is smart city, everybody has got an imagination. So is the case with Gen AI. So I thought I'll do some sort of introduction to Gen AI. With that context, talk a brief about what is what's happening in physical security and cyber security beyond cameras. Of course, cameras are one of the integral part of the sensors that you have. And how as L&T Technology Services, we are leveraging and what sort of a work we are doing in that space.
Let's clarify some terms.
It's a video here.
AI, as you probably know, stands for artificial intelligence. AI is not new. Fields like machine learning and computer vision have been around for decades. Whenever you see a YouTube recommendation or a web search result, or whenever you get a credit card transaction approved, that's traditional AI in action. Generative AI is AI that generates new original content, rather than just finding or classifying existing content. That's the G in GPT, for example. Large language models, or LLMs, are a type of generative AI that can communicate using normal human language.
Yeah, so why I put this slide, bit of video is here is saying that, look, I mean, of late we started using all terminologies interchangeably, right? Gen AI and all, right? The two important aspects, what is talking about, is the real-time insights that you can generate. And that generate is very important because what do you generate, which was not the case earlier, right? So that's extremely important when we actually talk about. You all have been following, I mean, this AI is not a new story. If you were come from computer engineering background, it's been there since 1916, from Alan Turing days. People have been talking about neural networks in 70s, 80s, and so on and so forth. Compute was different. People were talking about, a lot of, things happening on the chip side, and people saying that, it'll double up, every year, and so on and so, right? Today, as we speak, I've taken till 2020, till the advent of ChatGPT at this point. There's a big journey that has happened. A lot of things have come in. So it's been now, it's taken really 50 years, or 60 years to really come to the stage where we are. What's happened in last few years, in last 10 or 12 years, which I was talking about, since 2013 or 2012, a lot of actually things have happened in Gen AI. Many people have a view that Gen AI is an overnight invention last 1.5 years. No. A lot of things have started coming in. Only after ChatGPT came in, people started using as an interface. Right? Quite a few improvements have happened. Today, as we stand, every hyperscaler has come in with the models. There is also a debate that's happening in India. Should India develop models or should India develop applications? But trust me, the amount of investments that go into develop models is a huge, huge R&D spend. As some of the industrialists are talking about, I think India is well poised to leverage those models to develop the applications and help in terms of our, our own usage while the industry will continue to innovate on the models, pumping in money. So hyperscalers have started giving you the models, and it all depends on how do you want to use it. So the point I want to say here is it took decades of evolution, but it is here now available for everybody. You don't need to do R&D. It's all about how do we use it. I've just put a picture. I mean, most of the people from CCTV side would be able to really appreciate this. Sorry for some of the text which is not clearly visible. We have come the long way from 2014 to 2022. Earlier, if you were to do a classification or a generation of new image, it used to be as bad as this. Today, with what technology we have in, you can actually you're talking about NLP interface. With some simple prompt, you'll be able to generate an image using DALL-E or whatever it is, right? Now in this process, we are guzzling electricity, we are guzzling money. Okay, so if you keep the commercial for a minute today as we stand in 2025, the amount of compute used has gone into yotaflops. Like, Srini was talking about if you put any query, people say that between a Google search query to ChatGPT query, it's 10x, effectively electricity usage. So I'm sure a lot of innovation is happening on electricity side. But the main thing which I want to convey here is that it is guzzling stuff, which we don't realize. So the cost of power, the cost of compute is definitely there. But what the journey we have made is as simple as that. So this is the time we have come a long way to leverage and create the use cases which will help in the automation, cognitive automation, could be the operational efficiencies, could be customer experience, could be revenue generations. I put one more slide to make it more technical, to look more technical. If you see here, GenAI is everywhere. Who is adopting? The highest adoption is coming from consumer services on the retail side. Okay, probably that's because somebody is paying for that. Yeah. The least adoption is coming from the government because no, everybody wants it free, right? So there is a journey here in terms of the adoption of the one what you see in the blue, the production which will go into no plans and to don't know. I think there is a huge scope, especially in the area of public safety and in the cyber security. This is a statement which I was making initially. What is the adoption rate? Good part is, while the innovation is also coming fast, the adoption rate also has increased. So here the yellow line, what you see, if you see the PC has taken so many years to really go for 60% adoption. GenAI has got advantage of starting from 60 to 70. Now let me dwell a little bit more into the subject of security here. First, let me talk about AI as such. So AI was there, it's been working, especially in the security aspects. We all know that on physical security, we talked about how it will improve surveillance, anomaly detection, predictive maintenance of systems, automated monitoring, so on and so forth. All of you, we are aware of it. At the same time, on cyber side, one of the students here was asking about how spams are detected, the automation there, what's happening, the threat detection, all the rules. It's been there. I mean, more from the classification point of view. And these are all not new. We are using probably in a different keywords on day-to-day basis. So AI is reasonably adopted, but at what cost is a question always keeps happening. What I want to touch this red part here is, we have been talking AI for good, but there is a lot of AI which is actually messing up things. Classical example is deepfakes. Because of AI, you are able to deepfake technology, you are able to create deepfakes. So there are many things that are happening, autonomous weapons happening, AI-powered hacking tools. Some of the cameras, you can actually, camouflage your faces using, some of the, GAN adversarial networks. There are, psychological warfares happening, bioweapons are happening. All these things are possible today because of AI. So the point I'm making here is, look, AI for automation, AI for, all these things are fine. But thing is, AI is also creating a lot of opportunities for actually doing on the negative side also, which means that there is a lot of work to be done to stop these things happening. So it's not just about automation, it's not about IoT integration, it's all about how do we leverage the technology to actually address these more lethal back-end cyber stuff that's happening. Well, I put another slide to say that, look, Gen AI, like if you recollect, we were talking about something is generated is called Gen AI. I mean, a lot of possibilities are there here. Some are very expensive use cases, which you may want not to. Some are possible. Some are actually some we are doing also. You know, quite a few things are happening there. But see the red part. Because of this, model poisons can happen. So the whole AI as a security itself is actually evolving. AI as a security threat. Many times in our public safety conversation, we don't talk about that. We leave it as a cyber security aspect left to some OEMs. No, OEMs cannot solve it because today we are talking about real-time threat detection. OEMs will take this whole zero-day stuff is what we have been talking is we all should accept that is still far from reality. I mean, in terms of what we say, other than some basic vulnerabilities, right? So here it's all about model poisonings are happening, hyper-realistic deep fakes, evolving attacks on critical infrastructure. But it's a big stuff that's happening because of the technologies that are being used in Gen AI. We can do 100 things, which is getting in. So this is something which is concerning rather than the use cases that we see in terms of automation and efficiencies. Who is really adopting? Is it really hype? A lot of industries are adopting as Gen AI to generate a lot of things. For example, some people in US, they have been using for citizen engagement. In Middle East, these are public source information, right? So they are using for, mostly using for public services, primarily by virtue of smart cities or the technology interventions they have put in. But a real scale in terms of the security aspect is still yet to be seen, right? What I will do is that I'll quickly run through what at LTTS we are doing in terms of what's happening in the world in this space, especially related to this, the cyber and physical security world. Many of you may be aware, L&T, I mean, I don't need to introduce a lot, but L&T is, if I were to divide the whole company into 3 parts, high-tech manufacturing, EPC projects, which normally all of you know about L&T, and the services where IT, technology services, everything come. So I represent the technology services where we focus on digital engineering and technology transformation from chip to customer experience. Means we work with all OEMs, right from NVIDIA's to Intel's on the engineering side, participate in their chip design, chip testing, and so on. So to the extreme end of implementing, like what we do in the system integration business. So all is captured here. A bit of introduction of what LTTS is all about. But the important thing here I want to say is that unlike a typical IT company, we file close to around 50 patents a quarter with customers and internally. Both will happen. So this is an important thing because this is why in AI, on engineering, on infrastructure, we play a very important role in terms of bringing down that cost. We don't work on the models, but we work on the engineering side. What do I do? The business I represent, we work in smart cities, the public safety, smart spaces and utilities, which many people are aware of. But the most important thing here is that, like Srini was talking about, it's not about plain system integration. All these will need a lot of solution engineering. The lighting conditions, the business rules, what is right, what is not right, is all goes into that. So the engineering is extremely important here, not just the integration. What did we work? This is the work we have done in India. It's a bit of, I thought I'll take one slide to boast here, saying that's what work we have done. And we have touched almost 300 million urban lives by virtue of what we did across India, connecting various things. We do almost 25 plus command centers. We also run 25 plus cybersecurity operations centers, including critical establishment with Indian Defense Forces. Some of the pictures, you're all familiar with this, but I thought I'll put some big names like, because I'm talking Hyderabad, so this picture has come forward. Yeah, so a lot of work happens here. The good part of this Hyderabad command center is that this is the only place where we have got AI Center of Excellence working on the police use cases on a continuous basis, not as a product. So what is valid today is not valid tomorrow, right? So that keeps happening here. As LTTS, what do? We have 300 plus AI engineers. What we work is we closely work with the partnership ecosystem, which is extremely important, you know, in terms of creating the use cases. And we have got labs set up for that, you know, in Chennai and in Bangalore. Hyderabad is a command center here. I will not talk much, but the only thing I want to say here is, it's not about the technology, but it's all about, this is a classical example of how you put in the technology as a solution, as operating model to really leverage. Actually, that makes a lot of difference. That's why this command center stands out from any other command center in the country in terms of utilization. So I think, you know, this is something where we extensively use AI, and some parts of Gen AI we started using here. There are a lot of use cases which are actually cooking in terms of crime analytics, prediction analytics, social media mining, video synopsis and all. Some are coming from the products, but many actually require custom solutions because what you need on the ground is very different from what we productize. Can we productize as all? No. We can productize few. This is an interesting one which I thought I'll talk about, which is a recent one which we have set up in state of Maharashtra. Almost it's a very big project into running into multi-million dollars, right? While we have 1930 call center to tell about cyber crimes and all, this is the only place where an integrated cyber security command center is set up with the call centers, portals, apps, and all those channels. But most important thing is that a one-stop shop for all digital forensics coming from multiple places. You name anything you will find here. And we have set up a digital intelligence, theater there, which will talk about the threat modeling, threat hunting happening on the cyber side. What does it cover? It covers all the critical establishments infrastructure, which are mostly based out of Maharashtra, but you know, cyber, it goes around, right? So here you've got forensics, you've got the CERT for Maharashtra, and you've got the Center of Excellence for training the officials, because these technologies are evolving so much. If users doesn't know, I mean, they can't use it, I mean, at the end of the day. Here we are also using extensively AI, because this is a recent one. We are able to implement quite a few automations. As we speak, based on the current situation in the country, there are a lot of advisories which are going literally to every critical establishment based on dark web monitoring or what you see on the threat intelligence feeds coming in and so on. So, couple of examples in this particular case, bit of agentic AI work is happening, because considering the number of calls that is happening, the analyzing the audio calls at real time, more or less at the streaming scale, and then automating them into the cases, pushing them the alerts to the investigation officers, all happens in few seconds. That's thanks to agentic AI here. Like I was mentioning, the threat intel, while the tactical threat intel is a regular story which people have been doing for many years, strategic advisories has been one of the key work where Gen AI is extensively useful. Earlier we used to take 3-4 weeks to produce an advisory. Today we are able to do in a day or two, thanks to the Gen AI technologies. Of course, the automation of this dark web monitoring is a continuous process. One is monitoring it, but ultimately the technocrats are monitoring it, making it, generating the documents in such a way that the stakeholders really consume it is also a bit of automation part there. So the final thoughts are here. Look, I mean, Gen AI is here. The commercials will always be discussed. Currently it's free, people are using and so and so, but we need to adopt it. The more use cases we get in, I mean, it will be helpful. But the important part here is that, is AI a technology subject anymore? No, it is a business subject. So of late, very soon you will start seeing people stop calling chief AI officers and AI teams and so on. So everybody will start using AI as another skill. So this rapid adoption, like I told, a lot of threats are also coming in. We need to be aware of that. So we have to leverage Gen AI for addressing Gen AI problems. The physical and cyber spaces are getting thin. which means that the boundaries are getting expanded. So how do we address that using this technology? So Gen AI is going to be part of everywhere. I mean, there's no question of that subject, this subject, right? It's going to happen. But most important thing is you can trust what is coming in. All these reports coming from this AI or ML, like many of you also have told earlier, human intervention is very important. 3 years back, we all used to say same thing, right? It cannot replace the human thought process. But look, I mean, a lot of activities can be done now. But the bottom line is you can trust it, but still you need to verify it. I think with that, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Yeah.